All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I'm joined by special guest Finn Sullivan. And we're going to break down the best linebacker prospects in the 2021 NFL Draft. So the Chiefs might be on the lookout for a good linebacker, and there's a lot of good options this year. In my opinion, this is one of the better linebacker classes that we've seen in the past couple of years, and I think that opposed to left tackle, linebacker is a pretty big need for the Chiefs. Finn, what is your take on that? And what are your thoughts on this linebacker class?
Yeah, kind of like you said, this linebacker class is, to use a highly technical term, a delicious fountain of talent. Like, you've got guys who can do kind of whatever you want. You've got tackle machines like Nick Bolton and Chazz Surratt. You've got high level coverage guys like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and like Chazz Surratt. You've got just a ton of athleticism. You've got huge names like Micah Parsons, and you've also got like smaller names like Jabril Cox who aren't getting the play that they might in most years. I just think this class is so good this year. This is a great place to find a linebacker for us.
Oh yeah. So without further ado, let's get into our linebacker board. And the first player on that board is the JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who we will refer to in this video as JOK to save our vocabulary. He's a linebacker from Notre Dame, and he is a stud. I mean, this dude is a big-time hitter, very explosive on tape. He's fast. He plays very physical football, fast and physical, the way that we like our linebackers. And I think that he's going to have a chance to be one of the best linebackers in this draft class, and he's actually graded out higher than Micah Parsons. So I think that there's a very good chance that this dude goes way earlier than 31. That's probably likely, but I think that if this dude is available at 31, given the amount of talent that he has and the explosiveness to his game, I think if you're Brett Veach, you've got to draft him. Finn, what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So this dude, he just oozes with talent, man. Like, he is out here. He could be a safety, possibly. I compare him. I think he's a lot like Isaiah Simmons last year. And he obviously did not have the greatest rookie year, but I think if his rookie year had gone better, I think we would probably be seeing JOK as the top ranked backer in this class. Now, if you ask me, I think Micah Parsons is a little bit better than him, but he's just so versatile. I think I agree with you 100%. If he is there at 31, I don't know how we don't take him in good
like
conscience.
you said, he's got like the mind and the body of a defensive back. You could put him in at safety. And I think that he would honestly kind of be like a Tyrann Mathieu, Daniel Sorensen, Swiss Army knife, where you can play him up at the line. You can play him in coverage. You can put him back with the linebackers. I mean, he's just so versatile that I think if he is available, like you said, we just got to take him. And I don't think that anybody would really complain. The next prospect on our board is linebacker from Tulsa, Zaven Collins. He's a 3-year starter. This dude's been mocked to the Chiefs a ton at 31. He's 6'4", 259, and ran a 4.6 at his pro day. And so I think that this dude, from what I've seen on tape, he's just a big dude that will fight his way through blocks and make tackles in the backfield. He's also pretty good in coverage. He had 4 interceptions in 2020, and he returned 2 of those for touchdowns. So this dude just knows how to read the quarterback, pick the quarterback off, and he's got that speed to run it back to the end zone. I mean, that's just a quality that we really don't see from a lot of linebackers nowadays. And what are your thoughts on Zaven Collins?
Oh yeah, Collins is the type of guy who you see he's your everything that you want out of a linebacker. He's got it. He's got a high motor. He's high energy constantly. You'll never see him lacking. He doesn't miss a lot of tackles. He's great in coverage. He's a big hitter. He can beat out blocks with the best of them. The only problem is if we're sitting at 31 and we're between someone like Sam Cosmi, who I love, or Liam Eichenberg, or we can take Collins. I don't know how Veach looks and thinks, you know what? I think Collins is the pick here.
Yeah, I agree because like Collins is a good player and all, and he's a projected mid to late first round pick. So he might even go earlier than projected. But I don't think that you could overlook getting a tackle, which is the actual need right now, to get a good player who, in my opinion, is not going to be more important than a left tackle this year. So, I mean, the dude's got all the physical talent. I mean, again, I watched a lot of tape of him this year. He's a guy that just has that instinctual tackle ability. He will get past the blocks and he will take running backs back in the backfield. And he can get to the quarterback as well. But like you said, I think that tackle's the bigger need right now. And it just wouldn't make sense to draft him at 31. Now the next prospect. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Anything else?
No, yeah, I agree with that. And I think really tackle is, while we're just on it, I think even JOK, you would have a good number of people saying, I don't love the pick just because of how much deeper backer is in general than tackle. Like, I think the tackle class is a bit better than the backer class just because of the top tier talent. But I think depth wise, I think tackle's got to be the slam pick unless JOK is there.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't be enraged if you took Collins at 31, but I would rather have a tackle. So the next prospect is one that I am very fond of, and that is LSU linebacker Jabril Cox. Now, this dude is great in coverage. He's got speed, athleticism, good burst. And like I said, he's just so good in coverage. He's actually a hometown kid. He went to Raytown South High School. Then he went to North Dakota State, the powerhouse of North Dakota State. Then he transferred to LSU. So transferring from a lower level school to a Power 5 conference, playing for LSU that just won a national championship, I mean, it's pretty impressive. And he really didn't struggle the way that a lot of people thought that he would. And I think that if he's available in the second round and he's been mocked as a second round pick, you got to take him. I mean, I really think that if you get tackle in the first round and this guy still is there, I'm just such a big fan of him. I'd love to take him in that second round. And I think that you'd be getting a very good player. We know the track history with LSU DBs. I think that he could be the next great LSU DB. I really believe that. What do you think?
See, I hear you say DB, and it sounds like Michael might be messing up there, but no. This guy, you legitimately think he could profile as a DB. You were sending me like tons of videos. There was a 3-day span of July where Michael sent me like 35 videos of just regular Jabril Cox tape, like him in coverage against linebacker or against tight ends, or like something that a linebacker should do. Like, this guy is fast enough to be a defensive back. And while I might not agree with all that, I think he's a high energy guy. He's a big tackler. He's really good in coverage. I think he can handle just about any tight end in the league. And yeah, I mean, I don't personally love him the way you do, but I think he would be a really good pick. Maybe in the third for us, maybe not the second, but the third is where I like him if he's there.
I don't know if he'd slip that far. I really don't know if he would, but I mean, he's a hometown kid. Why not bring him back? And I think that what I kind of meant with the defensive back is I don't think that he would be like a safety, but I think that he's so versatile that he could kind of be a hybrid. In the way that you play Daniel Sorensen, kind of you line him up as a linebacker or in that secondary part, kind of like Tyrann Mathieu, they use him all around the field. So I think that you could almost do that with this guy. And like you said, he's very physical. He's good in coverage. And I think that he could take away a good receiver or maybe even a tight end. So I'm big on Cox, and I think he'd be a good pick, but I understand why you're not so keen on him. The next player is the one that you're very fond of, and that is linebacker from North Carolina in Chazz Surratt. Now, first off, I want to give my unbiased thoughts on this dude because Finn's just going to go on and on. His brother is a wide receiver at Wake Forest, and that's Sage Surratt. But this dude is just a monster. I mean, he went to North Carolina with the hopes of being a quarterback. He redshirted his freshman year. He played quarterback at North Carolina, got injured, and instead of just, I don't know, waiting to get healthy again, he just decided to uproot his entire career and move to linebacker. And not only did he do that, but he moved to linebacker and became a top 5 to top 7 linebacker in the NFL draft. I mean, that just shows you how athletic this dude is, how smart he is. I mean, he was a quarterback. He's got that knowledge that a lot of linebackers don't have right off the gate because he knows how to think like a quarterback because he was a quarterback. And not to mention, this dude's just tough as nails. He averaged 10 tackles per game for the past 2 years. So if that's not enough to say that this dude just screams good prospect, I don't know what does. So that's my take on him. Finn, give me your thoughts on him.
Yeah, so ever since I kind of watched the tape and then I went through, you watched the tape, and I don't even think that the tape does him justice because the best thing about Surratt is his football IQ, hands down. Like you said, he played quarterback at UNC, which is a noted quarterback powerhouse, absolute superstars like Mitchell Trubisky coming out of there. But he gets hurt, and you move to linebacker, and you're just a monster there. Like, he's got the football IQ. He can read a field like no other linebacker out there today. And that's because at his core, he's not a linebacker. He is a quarterback. And he's a big hitter. He's tough as hell, which you just don't. The convert, you usually see guys who convert and they show kind of tendencies of their old position. Not Surratt. This dude, he's an absolute killer. Like you said, 10 tackles a game over the span of 2 years. That's just some crazy numbers. And I think he's only going to develop as a linebacker. But what we already know is that he's got a huge IQ and he's just a great football player.
When if you need somebody to take over for Anthony Hitchens, who's the quarterback of the defense, this is the dude that has the IQ to do that. And I'm not even saying that he would have to do that this year. Give him a year under the Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo playbook. He's going to learn that. And I think that that's going to be a good pick in the second or third round if he does fall. I would not even complain if we took him over a receiver. I really wouldn't, because I think this guy has a lot of talent. And usually you see guys that transfer from quarterback, maybe be a receiver or a defensive back. He's a linebacker. You know how physical that position is? I mean, he had like a broken wrist, I think it was, but this dude jumps from being a quarterback who is not in harm's way as much as a linebacker. So I think this dude's tough, and he's got all the intangibles to be a good linebacker at the next level. The next prospect is Missouri linebacker Nick Bolton. You know, I'm not really high on him as a lot of people are. He's projected to be a late first round pick. He's been mocked to the Packers a lot recently. I don't think that he's going to be a star at the next level. I really don't. I think that he's kind of undersized. From what I've seen, he's like 5'11". He's like 250. So he's big when it comes to weight and putting on weight, but he's not really big in stature. And I think that he's been a good Missouri linebacker, but I don't know if that's going to transfer to the NFL, where you got to go up against very physical tackles and ends. And I don't know if that's going to transfer over, but he's good in the backfield. He can for sure exploit the tackles and get behind them and tackle the running back behind the line of scrimmage. But I don't know if that's going to transfer over to the NFL level. So Finn, what is your thoughts on him?
So Nick Bolton, he's just like Surratt, sort of, in that his IQ is his best kind of trait, but that's where it ends. Like, you see Bolton get outclassed by just an elite tier of athletes at running back. You see him get beat consistently. He misses way more tackles than you want out of the guy who you want to be the absolute rock of your defense. He's solid, not fantastic in coverage. I think really, I personally I've done a few mock drafts. I've never put him anywhere but Cleveland. So hopefully it won't even be a problem for us. But yeah, like you said, he's big, but he's short, which is always a problem. He did not test very well at his pro day, just generally. I think this dude if he's there, I think you can kind of pass him by, honestly.
Oh, I'd rather have a tackle. I'd rather have a tackle all day. I really think that you can get, I mean, like I said, we've covered the last 4 or 5 prospects. You can get good linebackers in the second and third round. I don't think this is worth wasting a first round pick over. I really don't.
100% agree. 100%.
The next player and the final player on our board is Jamin Davis. And this is a Kentucky linebacker. He's a big dude. He's 6'3", 234. He tested very well. A lot of people think this dude is like the third or fourth best linebacker in the whole class, which is saying a lot. He's got the physical tools. He's got good vision, gains ground quickly, good downhill runner. Like I said, he graded out very highly among the linebackers. But the only problem that I see with him is he's very inexperienced. He only started 11 games at Kentucky, and I don't really think that he could start day one. So he's kind of like a less polished Willie Gay, I guess you could say. Willie Gay, when he was at Mississippi State, played a lot more than he did. And he also had a little bit more athleticism and sideline to sideline speed. So I don't think they're entirely comparable, but they both do have that kind of ability to make plays. I mean, if you want to say one thing, Jamin Davis is a playmaker. But the problem is I don't think that he is experienced enough. And maybe you draft him in the third if he's still there, but I would rather pass him up. What do you think?
Yeah, that's the Willie Gay comparison is one that I like a lot, in that he's a guy who's, he's a developmental guy. You don't expect him to come in right away and start, and he is athletic as hell, just like Willie Gay was. But yeah, I agree. I think if he's in the third, maybe you take him. But I've seen this dude projected even in the first round over Collins. Like, I don't think that's reasonable. Even in the second, if he falls to us, I'd much rather have Surratt or even your boy Jabril Cox. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just think at some point, how many developmental backers can you take on? You need impact players now.
Well, that's the thing, dude. We're not going backer. We're not going to take 2 consecutive linebackers. You draft one this year, and they might not even draft one at all. I mean, that's kind of where we're sitting right now. They might just forego that and draft one next year. But I'm glad that we were kind of able to make this video. We covered, I believe it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prospects, and I think that there's a chance that one of them goes to the Chiefs. But if they don't, I mean, I think the Chiefs have a plan. Brett Veach obviously knows what he's doing. Really quickly before we end this video, what do you think the need for a linebacker is? Are you stressing that we need a linebacker, or is a receiver more of a priority in your opinion?
I'm a little more panicked, I think, than the average Chiefs fan about our backing core. As we've seen a lot, we'll see Spags employ kind of only 2 backers and then kind of drop down the Honey Badger to kind of roam. But when you've got guys like Ben Neiman consistently on the field, it's one of the biggest concerns, if you ask me. I think that in order, I think obviously concern number 1 is tackle. Number 2, though, I think is actually backer in this draft more than it's receiver, just because of the amount of like solid receivers you can get that you can find for cheap, and there are no linebackers available in this free agent market right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want one, this is the draft to do it. Especially if we get a developmental guy in the second, like Davis, I think we want him for next year. I think that a lot of these dudes could be a slam dunk in the second or third.
I agree with you. So that's my guy, Finn Sullivan. I appreciate him coming on today. We're going to break down more stuff in terms of the draft. We've done our tackle research. We might get into some of the interior offensive line later, our receiver class as well. But I appreciate you watching this linebacker prospect analysis, and more draft content to come soon, because guess what? We're 10 days away from the NFL draft, and we're going to do our best to make sure that we are as prepared as possible. And hopefully the Chiefs can do the right things and get the right prospects to help this team be successful this next season. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.